Why do I like football? Why? Why do I put myself through this every single week? Oh my god. Full time 1-1. Yay. Fantastic. So, another point. What's that? Is that our 11th draw? I'm actually going to check this right now. I need to know. I'm pretty sure we have drawn 11 games this season. Let's go into the Premier League. We have 23 games, 6 wins, 11 draws, and 6 losses. How have Arsenal Football Club got 6 wins out of 23 games? I mean, it's astounding, really, isn't it? I mean, I guess the silver lining is when you look at that record, we've only actually lost 6 games from 23, which puts us on par with Manchester United. They've lost 6. Sheffield have lost 6. Wolves have only lost 5. Wow. Chelsea have lost 7. You've got City and Leicester on 5. Based on losses, we're not actually too bad. But of course, we've got the most draws in the league. We are 1 more ahead of Wolves. They've got 10. Apologies for looking down at the phone for so long. I want to engage you guys, but actually when I feel like this, I don't want to look at people. I don't want to talk to people. It's crazy how actually I make a video and I upload it to thousands of people to watch. But yeah, that was really disappointing because we held, once again, a 1-0, sorry, not a 1-0, a 1-0 to the Arsenal chant going around the stadium. We held on to it for so long. And then last 10 minutes, bang, back to square one. You hear the chant every time we're winning a game 1-0. 1-0 to the Arsenal. Can we stop singing it? Because it's not a good thing being 1-0 up. It honestly isn't. I feel like in the 80th minute, I would almost rather be 0-0 at this point because when we are winning 1-0, it never ends well. Chelsea didn't end well, did it? This had the same feeling for me. Not as bad because obviously Chelsea is a very big game for us. You know, it's a London derby. But of course, playing against Sheffield, who would have thought how well they've been doing this season? That's why I can't really take any credit away from them. Fantastic season they're having. And Wilder, what a manager. What a manager. The complete opposite of Arteta on the age spectrum, of course. We've got the youngest manager. He's obviously one of the older ones. And he's got Sheffield playing so well. They are so difficult to beat. Really, really difficult to beat. Which says a lot about a promoted side. To be difficult to beat like that, it just shows tactically he is class. Class manager. And I'm not saying we got the tactics wrong today, but whatever we tried to do was only half working. It didn't feel like we really had a plan and how to deal with Sheffield being so defensive. But then you look at the team sheet. I mean, when we finish the game, we've got Nketiah up front. We've got a youngster in Martinelli. We've got Saka in the lineup. We've got Maitland-Niles in the lineup. We've got so many young players and untested players. It's quite scary how far we've fallen from the days of having, you know, Alexis, Mesut Ozil, Santi Cazorla, even Giroud. Big player, you know, big players. Without Aubameyang, things are just a bit dry up top, aren't they? Quick word on Martinelli, though. This kid, as tweeted by Aubameyang during the game, by the way, it actually cut to him in the crowd. You can see him putting his phone in his pocket. Clearly, he's just been on Twitter. He tweeted that Martinelli is going to be a superstar, that he's going to grow into an absolute superstar. The thing is, will he do it at Arsenal? Will he be here for long enough? He's a class player. And actually, I'm going to say something that may upset and trigger a lot of Arsenal fans. So, unpopular opinion incoming. I don't rate Lacazette. I don't think Lacazette gives us enough to put him ahead of a Martinelli right now. I would actually like to see Aubameyang up front in his best position, our top scorer up front, who would have thought? And then Martinelli given that left mid position, left wing position for the rest of the season, if possible. Just give him some time there. Because I feel like with Lacazette, we just don't have... I don't know what it is. I can't put my finger on it. He's gone 7 games now without a goal. He's really good at this. Holding off players. He's really good at that. And then maybe squaring it off to someone else. But sometimes you need more than that. And that's why I think with Aubameyang, it kind of works because Aubameyang is the poacher. He will find space in behind and he'll score goals. Now, Martinelli has that in this game, but he's, 18 years old? Come on, okay? We can't rely on Martinelli to be the Aubameyang when he's missing. He did a fine job, Martinelli. And Lacazette is not a bad player, by the way. He's obviously a fantastic football player, but I don't rate him as our only striker. It doesn't seem to work. Maybe I'm just in a bad mood because of that game, but it's not the first time I felt that way recently. But it's one of those things you don't want to believe it because you love Lacazette as an Arsenal fan. You love him. He's a true gentleman. And him and Aubameyang have such a bromance, and it's great to see them both playing. But when Aubameyang's missing, we rely on Lacazette to come in and do a job, and he just can't seem to do that job. So for me, Martinelli and Aubameyang go into the team. I'd love to see that. I would love to see... I don't think Pepe was particularly great tonight, but I'd love to see him on the right, Martinelli on the left, and Aubameyang up top. And maybe Lacazette is a bit more of an impact player when he comes off the bench. I don't know. It's a difficult subject. Of course, after a draw like this, which feels like a loss, you're going to be complaining about things that maybe aren't the issue. But it is frustrating to watch Lacazette. It is frustrating because he just doesn't do enough. He's a great guy and he's a great team player, but sometimes we need someone that has just that little bit more, which Aubameyang provides, pretty much. Let's talk about midfield because we had Xhaka and Torreira again with Mesut Ozil in front. I don't think Ozil was bad today. He got himself in the game. Torreira, I thought, was really good as well. Got himself into tackles and won the ball back numerous times. And Granit Xhaka was pretty flawless as well. I always fear about his lack of mobility. You see it. He kind of panics when he's being chased because he doesn't have the legs on him. And of course, the usual yellow card in the dying moments of the game today, where he has slid in on a player that is just going to burn him on pace, and he can't be asked to chase him back. And I don't blame him taking a little yellow card there. It's a bit of a tactical foul. But all three of those players that I just mentioned, Ozil, Torreira, Xhaka, were absolutely fine today. So no problems there. Just feel like we lacked the final pass, and quite often it fell to young Saka at left back to get the cross in. We're without Kolasinac, Tierney. We're linked with Kurzawa, I think that's how you say his name, the PSG French left back, who I believe has a hat-trick in the Champions League. Very nice indeed. Of course, that really doesn't mean much these days, especially when we need a left back that's just going to help us out defensively a little bit. So apparently that deal's done for the summer. He's going to be joining for free on a 5-year contract. I don't know what that means for Kolasinac. I think he could be on his way, potentially, which is a shame because he's done quite well since Arteta's come in. But talking of left-backs, Saka, once again, did a fantastic job at left-back. He made Maitland-Niles look so amateur going forward. The difference is very clear to see. Saka is so much better going forward than Maitland-Niles is. His end product, his crossing, his passing is just so much better. Whereas Maitland-Niles, of course, is a bit more physical. He's got more of an engine on him. He's doing a great job at right back for us. But I would just love to see a bit more composure going forward. He's always putting in a pass and a cross that doesn't get to anyone. Whereas Saka got the assist for the goal, of course, with Martinelli's tap-in. And many times got the ball into dangerous areas, whereas Maitland-Niles, I remember one cross, it went out for a goal kick by miles. It was just such a disappointing cross, and you can hear the crowd just deflate. You go on this great run, maybe you make a tackle, and then get on the run, you do really well, and then you just provide nothing. So, yeah, that's my thoughts on the two wing-backs that we played today, or left-back and right-back. We had Mustafi come in for Sokratis, who apparently was ill. I don't think Mustafi was bad, but you can tell he's still rusty. He's not getting enough game time, and he still lacks a lot of confidence. He did an interview recently, and I watched it, and I felt kind of bad for the guy because he does get bullied by social media. I'm not going to say rightly so because no one deserves to be bullied, but some of the performances over the last season or two have been very questionable, and I think rightly so. You should be criticised if you aren't performing. But in the video, he does talk about things like he gives his all for the club, and he tries so hard to not make any mistakes, and that he has to switch off social media if he does make a mistake, and he just gets destroyed for it. And he loves the fan base, but he's upset when he gets battered like that. It's an interesting video, and it gives you a little bit of insight to what it's like being a professional footballer these days with social media. There's no way I would want to face that every week. Imagine the pressure on you. But he said one thing that really stood out to me, and that is, as a defender, as a centre-back, right-back, left-back, whatever, you kind of need to have a perfect game just to have a good game, just to not be seen as having issues defensively or whatever. You have to have a perfect game every time, because one mistake often leads to a goal. It's the same with goalkeepers. You have to have a perfect performance just to not be dragged in the mud, whereas a striker can just have a decent game and they still get a lot of plaudits. Maybe they provide the pre-assist or whatever, and you're not going to make a mistake up front and cause a goal. So strikers and technically midfielders have it a bit easier mentally like that. So whilst I get that, he doesn't focus enough. He says he gives it all and he focuses hard on not making mistakes, but he makes mistakes. The amount of times he tried to pass the ball out today and he just makes the wrong choice. Now, of course, it's very easy when you're watching the game on TV or from the stands. You get a much bigger picture of the pitch. You can see everything almost, right? And you can see that maybe another pass is the right pass and what pass is the wrong pass. And yes, he often does go for the dodgy, quick pass when maybe he shouldn't. But maybe on the pitch you don't see everything. I don't know. It's difficult. I don't think he was bad necessarily today, but there were moments where I just think, man, we have missed Socrates, or we are missing Holding and Chambers, of course. I thought David Luiz was pretty decent as well. I thought Leno was okay, bar that one mistake that they almost scored from. In general, it's a 5/6 out of 10 performance. I mean, it's not inspiring, is it, when you're looking to a player like Nketiah to come on and get you the win? Yeah, we're in a bit of a pickle. We really are. We're in 10th place still, and we're well over halfway. Top 6, I think, is still the target. Top 4's gone. We're not going to get relegated, of course. Like I said at the start of this video, yes, we've obviously not done very well this season. We're nowhere near where we want to be. But if you look at the stats, as in the wins, losses and draws, we're competing. I don't want to say competing, but we're not losing. We're not losing games too often. 6 losses is not too bad. We're just not winning. And I've got to talk about this. I don't want to bring it up again, but VAR. I was going to mention it at the start of the video, but I thought it'd turn people off, and you'd close the video. You know my thoughts on VAR. I really despise how we use it. I think the technology is great. I think it's here to stay, and it should be here to stay. But the way we are using it is a catastrophe. It really is. And today, we lost out on 3 points because of a lack of a decision from VAR. You've got Pepe doing his winding runs, which 9 out of 10 times amount to nothing. But this one time, he gets into the box. He's in between 2 Sheffield United players, and he gets taken out, just smacked across his shin. Now, it looks like maybe the defender gets a slight touch on the ball. So maybe that's why VAR has decided not to intervene, because there was a very slight touch. But I've got to say, if there's a foul there, and it's right as he's touching the ball, it's very, very close. Okay, it's such a close decision. I get it. But VAR has got to intervene and give the penalty there. Maybe what I just said makes this completely irrelevant because he got a tiny touch. Maybe, because he might not have. It's so difficult to see from the angle. But what is very, very clear to me is massive contact on Pepe's legs. And I think in any other game up to this point today, we would have got a penalty there. For some reason, and I'm not blaming Mike Dean, even though he is a shockingly bad referee. I can't stand the guy. He makes my blood boil. I hate him with a passion. He's just a bad referee. He clearly hates Arsenal, by the way. In the past, Google it. You'll see exactly what I mean. But VAR didn't do its job there. Yes, it checked it and it decided it was fine. But go and watch the replay, because I'm not convinced the ball was touched. I'm just saying there's a possibility it was, which therefore I guess by the letter of the law means it's not a penalty. But let's just bring it back to basics. Just think about it for a second, okay? Let's ignore that VAR even exists at this point. So let's talk 5 seasons ago. Is there a foul? Is there a foul? Is there a clear moment of contact which takes down the player and stops him from progressing on the attack? If the answer's yes, then it's a penalty. It's a free kick if it's not in the box. It's a penalty if it's in the box. I'm literally going to basics, okay? Football basics, the rules of the game. Now, with VAR coming in, we have the opportunity to slow these moments down and get the referee to overturn a decision or even just go and check it himself. You can clearly see the ball is under control. Pepe is running through them. And there is a very deliberate movement from the defender's leg in front of Pepe to try and snatch the ball away. If he got a teeny touch, the referee would never have seen it in a million years. That's a penalty 5 years ago, 100%, unless the referee just doesn't see it in total, doesn't see the incident at all. But the position he's in, and the fact we've got VAR, you've got to go back in there, and you've got to give the penalty. There's just, it doesn't compute. I'm absolutely gobsmacked that we didn't get a penalty there, because I've seen others given that are so much harder to decide that there was no contact for sure, or there was a very slight bit of contact that's so obvious, yet they still get the penalty. You just don't get it if you're an Arsenal player. That's how I feel. I know that's not the case. There, of course, is not any. What's the word I'm looking for? They're not transpiring to ruin it for Arsenal this season, but there is definite contact there. And if the ball wasn't touched, what's going on? I don't know. It's 50-50 in most people's eyes, but of course, as an Arsenal fan, I'm there screaming like, hello, that's a penalty. Surely. Anyway, I'm done. I'm absolutely sick to death of not winning games. But at least we're not losing them. What's the next game? Chelsea, is it not? So that's going to be good. Thank you for watching. Hopefully you're enjoying the Operation Arsenal videos and the Sunderland career mode videos. So make sure you are subscribed to the channel. We've got a new one coming out tomorrow. And I will see you guys for another video very soon.